Welcome to my channel Learn and Speak English. Let me ask you something. What if the next book you read could change your entire life? What if the secret to improving your English, building confidence, and unlocking new opportunities isn't a perfect teacher, an expensive course, or moving to another country, but simply reading the right book at the right time? Sounds impossible, right? It's not. In fact, it's one of the most powerful things you can do, and most people never realize it. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to read, why it matters, and how even one book can shift the way you think, speak, and live. So, stick with me till the end. Because once you understand how to choose the right books, you won't just become a better English speaker. You'll become a better thinker, learner, and version of yourself. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Why reading changes everything, even if you're a beginner. Let me start with something simple but powerful. You don't need perfect English to start reading. You start reading to get closer to perfect English. This is where most people get it completely wrong. They wait. They wait until they feel ready, until they understand every word, until their grammar is perfect. But if you keep waiting for the perfect time, it will never come. The truth is, the fastest way to grow, not just in English, but in your thinking, your confidence, your entire life, is through reading, one page at a time. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, there was a student from Brazil. He spoke almost no English when he started, no confidence, couldn't follow conversations. Always afraid to speak. But he made a small decision that changed everything. He picked up a simple English book, a children's book actually, and read it from beginning to end. Then he read another and another. Fast forward 1 year, he was reading full novels, writing in English, and even got a remote job with an international company. All from reading. No expensive teacher, no fancy apps, just books. Now compare that to someone else. Let's call him Ollie. Ollie wanted to improve his English, too, but instead of reading, he just watched videos every day. He consumed so much content. YouTube, Netflix, Instagram. But after 6 months, his vocabulary hadn't grown much. He still struggled to form clear sentences. Why? Because he was only consuming language, not building it. Reading is different. When you read, your brain slows down. It processes each word. It sees sentence structure. It absorbs grammar without you even noticing. You start to think in English, not just listen to it. And here's something amazing. Science backs this up. Studies show that people who read regularly, even for just 15 minutes a day, develop faster language skills than those who rely only on listening or speaking. Reading activates more areas of your brain. It strengthens memory. It improves focus. And it introduces you to vocabulary that spoken English often leaves out. Reading is like going to the gym, but for your mind. Every sentence is a rep. Every paragraph is a set. And the more you do it, the stronger your language becomes. But let's take it beyond language for a moment. Because reading doesn't just help you speak better. It helps you think better. It gives your ideas. It introduces you to people, cultures, and perspectives you've never seen before. It teaches you how to focus, how to be patient, and how to think deeply in a world that's addicted to fast and shallow. And most importantly, reading gives you power. Real power. Because once you understand something, once you learn a new idea, no one can take that away from you. It becomes part of you. It shapes your decisions. It influences how you see the world. Now I know what you might be thinking. But what if I don't understand everything I read? Good. That's the point. If you understood everything, you wouldn't be learning. You're not supposed to get every word, especially at the beginning. You're supposed to stretch, to challenge your brain, to grow. Even if you only understand 70% of a page, that 70% is still 100% more than zero. The key is to keep going. To trust that your brain is learning in the background. That with every book, every paragraph, every sentence, you're building a new version of yourself. So, if you're just starting your English journey, here's my advice. Don't wait. Don't look for shortcuts. Don't tell yourself you're not ready. Pick up a book. Any book that interests you. Start small. Start simple. But just start. Because reading is not just a tool. It's a gateway, a key, a quiet superpower that most people ignore. And the people who don't ignore it, they change, they grow, they rise. Remember this. The world is full of people who are stuck, not because they're not smart, but because they stopped learning. Reading is your way out of that. It's your path forward. And the best part? It's always there. Always available. Always ready to take you to the next level. One sentence at a time. Chapter 2: What to read as a beginner and what to avoid. Let's be honest. The hardest part of reading in English isn't always the grammar or the vocabulary, or even understanding the story. Sometimes the hardest part is knowing where to start. With thousands of books out there and so many people giving advice, it can feel overwhelming. Should you start with a novel, a self-help book, something short, something serious? And what if you choose the wrong book and get discouraged before you even get started? Here's the good news. There is a right way to begin. And once you know what kind of books are made for beginners and which ones to avoid, everything gets easier. Because when you pick the right book at the right level, reading doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like a win. A small, satisfying win that builds your confidence and makes you want to keep going. So, let's break it down. If you're just starting your English journey, the best books for you fall into a few powerful categories. First, graded readers. These are books specially written for English learners, and they come in levels. From beginner to advanced, they use simple vocabulary, short sentences, and lots of repetition. But here's the key. They still tell real stories. Not boring textbook stories, real adventures, mysteries, romance, history. They're designed to teach without making you feel like a child. Some popular series are from Oxford Bookworms, Penguin Readers, and Cambridge English Readers. Next, children's books. Yes, children's books. Don't let the word child scare you. These are gold for beginners. Why? Because they use simple language, clear structure, and lots of repetition. They're perfect for building basic vocabulary. Start with books made for ages 6 to 9. Picture books are great too. The images help you understand the story and guess new words. Some powerful examples. The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle or Frog and Toad by Arnold Lobel. Simple stories, big impact. Another great category. Short stories. These are perfect if you struggle with focus or feel intimidated by long books. Short stories are complete in just a few pages. You get to feel the satisfaction of finishing something without the pressure of hundreds of pages. Plus, you get to practice new words and sentence patterns in small, manageable chunks. And for those who want something more practical, try simple nonfiction books like self-help, biographies, or motivational topics written in easy English. Many ESL publishers now create simplified versions of famous nonfiction books. For example, Who is biographies like Who was Steve Jobs? Or simple books about habits, success, or famous people. These books help you learn language and life lessons at the same time. Now, let's talk about what to avoid, because this is where a lot of beginners get stuck. Many learners make the mistake of starting with classic literature. Books like Pride and Prejudice, The Great Gatsby, or even modern bestsellers like Harry Potter. Now listen. These are amazing books, but not for beginners. Why? Because the vocabulary is difficult, the sentences are long, and the writing style can be confusing even for native speakers. Starting with these books can kill your confidence. You read a few pages, understand nothing, and start to believe reading is too hard. But it's not you. It's the book. You just started too high. So how do you know if a book is the right level for you? Try the 5-finger rule. Open a page, any page, and read. Every time you see a word you don't understand, put up 1 finger. If you get to 5 fingers before finishing the page, the book is too hard. Try something easier. If you have 0 or 1 unknown word, it might be too easy. But if you find 2 to 3 new words per page, you've found the sweet spot. That's your book. Here's another trick. Read the first 2 pages. If you feel tired, lost, or frustrated, stop. That book isn't for you. But if you feel curious, even if you don't understand every word, keep going, because that's the kind of book that grows you without burning you out. I want you to remember this. Reading isn't a test. It's a tool. The goal isn't to understand everything. It's to understand enough to enjoy the process and improve over time. Reading should build you up, not break you down. It should make you feel smarter, not smaller. And the right book can do that if you choose wisely. So today, go find your first book. It doesn't need to be famous. It just needs to be the right level, the right length, and something you're curious about. Start small. Start simple. But just start. Because once you find a book that fits, reading won't feel like a school assignment anymore. It will feel like a new world opening up just for you. Chapter 3, The Secret Sauce, How to Read Effectively Without Feeling Lost. Let's be real for a second. Most people don't stop reading because they're lazy or unmotivated. They stop because they feel lost. They open a book, start strong, and then boom, a sentence makes no sense. A new word pops up, then another. Suddenly they feel stuck, frustrated, and maybe even a little stupid. But they're not. The problem isn't them. The problem is how they're reading. Here's the truth. You don't need to understand every single word to become a better reader. In fact, trying to stop and check the dictionary every 5 seconds? That's one of the fastest ways to kill your confidence. You don't need to read harder. You need to read smarter. And that's what this chapter is all about. Let's start with something called the 80-20 rule. It's simple. About 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. And in reading, that means this. Most of your language growth comes from focusing on the most common words. The truth is, in English, the top 2,000 words are used again and again in almost every book, conversation, and movie. So, when you read, don't stress about the rare or difficult words. Focus on the words you keep seeing over and over. Those are the words that will change your English. Now, what do you do when you don't know a word? Do you stop? Do you look it up? Sometimes, but not always. In fact, here's a much better skill to build, guessing from context. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're reading this sentence. She was absolutely thrilled when she saw the surprise party. Maybe you don't know what thrilled means, but look at the clues. Surprise party, absolutely. And when she saw. These are positive hints. From the context, you can guess thrilled probably means happy or excited. And that's exactly right. You didn't need a dictionary. You just needed to read with your eyes open. This is how native speakers learn vocabulary, not by memorizing definitions, but by paying attention to how words are used. So, here's a tip. When you come across a new word, try to figure out the meaning first. Only if the word keeps coming up and you still don't understand it, then look it up. But 80% of the time, your brain will figure it out on its own. And that's the best kind of learning. Learning that sticks. Let's talk about another powerful technique, rereading. Most people read a book once and move on. But rereading is where the real magic happens. The first time you read, you're just trying to survive. Follow the story, catch the main idea, recognize a few new words. But the second time, everything slows down. You notice grammar patterns, you see how the author uses phrases, you understand more, and by the third time, it feels familiar. That's fluency. That's confidence. Some of the most successful English learners I know read the same book 3 to 4, even 5 times, and every time they learned something new. So, if you find a book you enjoy, don't be afraid to go back. Rereading is not wasting time, it's reinforcing knowledge. And that's how you go from understanding to mastery. Now let's talk about 2 types of reading. Don't worry, I'll keep it simple. There's intensive reading and extensive reading. Intensive reading is slow, focused reading. You look at grammar. You study new vocabulary. Maybe you even write notes. It's great for short texts, like articles, short stories, or book excerpts. You go deep. You learn a lot from just a few pages. Extensive reading, on the other hand, is about reading more. Not perfectly, but with enjoyment. You don't stop for every unknown word. You just keep going, understanding the big picture. This is how you build flow. This is how you train your brain to think in English. Most of your reading should be extensive. Just read. Keep the rhythm. Trust the process. You don't need to choose one or the other. Mix both. Maybe 15 minutes of fun reading in the morning. Extensive. And 10 minutes of deep study in the evening. Intensive. The key is consistency, not perfection. Here's something you should remember. Reading is not a race. It's not about finishing books fast or understanding everything. It's about showing up every day. It's about growing just 1% every time you open a book. And over time, those small gains become something big. So, if you've ever felt like reading in English is too hard, or that you'll never be fluent, take a breath. You're not behind. You just need a better approach. Read books that fit your level. Guess more, translate less. Read for joy, not just for grammar, and reread the books that speak to you. Because the real secret to becoming fluent, the secret sauce, isn't being perfect. It's not giving up. It's turning reading into a habit. And when you do that, everything else, the vocabulary, the grammar, the confidence starts to follow. Chapter 4. Fiction versus nonfiction. Which one should you read? Let me ask you a question. Do you want to read to escape or to evolve? Do you want to feel something or learn something? Because that's the real difference between fiction and nonfiction. And the truth is, if you want to become fluent in English, you need both. You see, different books serve different purposes. Fiction and nonfiction are not just 2 types of books. They're 2 different tools. And when you understand how to use each one, reading becomes powerful. You stop guessing what to read next, and you start choosing books that match your goals, your mood, and even your energy level. Let's start with fiction stories. Novels, characters, emotions. Fiction is where language comes to life. When you read fiction, you're not just learning words. You're stepping inside another person's world. You feel what they feel. You see what they see. You experience the story from the inside out. That's empathy. That's emotional intelligence. That's cultural understanding. And here's something most learners don't realize. Fiction is a secret weapon for fluency. Why? Because it teaches you the rhythm of real English, the way people speak, feel, and think. Fiction is full of dialogue, idioms, everyday expressions, emotion-packed sentences that make the language stick. It's not textbook English, it's living English. Now let's talk about nonfiction. This is where you learn real-world skills. Nonfiction teaches you things. How the brain works, how to build better habits. Why some people succeed while others struggle when you read nonfiction. You're growing your mind and your vocabulary, especially around ideas, facts, and topics that matter in the real world. For example, books like Atomic Habits by James Clear or Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty are written in clear, simple language, and they teach powerful lessons about discipline, mindset, and personal growth. As an English learner, reading books like these does two things at once. It teaches your life skills and builds your vocabulary around success, self-help, and psychology. Words you'll hear again and again in real conversations. So, what's better, fiction or nonfiction? Here's the honest answer. It depends. It depends on your mood, your goals, even the time of day. Let me give you a simple formula, a 3-step guide to help you choose. Step 1. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? If your brain feels tired and you just want to enjoy English, pick fiction. If you feel focused and want to grow or learn something, pick nonfiction. Step 2. Ask, what do I want to feel? Want to feel connected, emotional, or inspired? Go for a novel, a short story, or even a children's fiction book. Want to feel smarter, clearer, or more productive? Go for a self-help book, biography, or a book about ideas. Step 3. Check your level. Don't choose based on what's popular. Choose based on what you can understand. If a book is too hard, it won't help you. It will just frustrate you. Try to read the first page. If you understand most of it, that's your book. Now let's give you some real examples to help you start. Beginner-friendly fiction books. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon, written in very clear, simple English. A unique story told by a teenage narrator. Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. A classic children's novel full of emotion, friendship, and very readable language. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. A beautiful story about following your dreams. Short, poetic, and full of life lessons. Beginner-friendly nonfiction books. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincere. Simple, funny, motivating language. Who Was series like Who Was Nelson Mandela? Biographies written for younger readers, but great for English learners. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Simplified versions or summaries, a treasure of life and language skills. So, here's the takeaway. Fiction helps you feel. Nonfiction helps you grow. Fiction builds empathy and fluency. Nonfiction builds knowledge and confidence. You don't have to choose one forever. Just choose what helps you today. Reading isn't about finishing a list. It's about moving forward, one book at a time. So, build a healthy reading balance. Mix story with strategy, mix feeling with thinking, and slowly you'll notice something beautiful. English is no longer just a subject. It's a part of who you are becoming, and that's when learning becomes transformation. Chapter 5. Building a reading habit that sticks even if you're busy. Let's face it, reading once won't change your life, but reading consistently will. The key isn't about squeezing in hours of reading every day. It's about making reading a natural, enjoyable part of your life. And guess what? Even if you're busy, you can do this. This chapter is all about turning reading into a habit that actually sticks. It's about making reading something you look forward to, not something that feels like homework. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, step by step, so you don't just try to read more. You actually do it. Let's start with the 10-minute rule. Top moment. The 10-minute rule that creates unstoppable progress. Here's the secret. You don't need hours to make reading a habit. You just need 10 minutes a day. That's it. Think about it. If you can spare 10 minutes to scroll through your phone or watch a video, you can spare 10 minutes to read. Why 10 minutes? Because it's small enough to fit into any schedule, but powerful enough to create consistent progress. And once you get started, it's easier to keep going. But even if you don't read longer than 10 minutes, that's still progress. Consistency, not duration, is what matters most. Here's how to make it work. 1. Pick your book before you start your day, not in the middle of it. Set a timer for 10 minutes. No distractions. 3. Read until the timer goes off. Don't overthink it. Just focus on the book. Celebrate the small win you read for 10 minutes and get back to your day. The best part after you do this for a week. You'll find that 10 minutes naturally turns into 15 or 20 minutes. You'll want to read more. And when you want to read more, that's when the magic happens. Top moment. How to turn reading into a relaxing ritual, not a stressful task. So many learners treat reading like it's something they have to do, like a chore. But reading should feel like a gift, not a task. The key to making reading stick is to create a relaxing ritual. Here's how. 1. Find your spot. Where do you feel most relaxed? Your favorite chair, the couch, your bed? Create a reading corner. You don't need a fancy chair or desk. But you do need a spot where you feel comfortable and at peace. 2. Set the mood. Make reading feel special. Maybe light a candle, get a cup of tea or coffee, or put on soft music. When reading becomes part of your routine, you want it to feel like a break, not an obligation. 3. Create a pre-reading routine. It can be as simple as stretching for 30 seconds or taking a few deep breaths before you dive into your book. The ritual around your reading session will help you get into the zone faster. When you treat reading like a relaxing habit, it stops feeling like work. It becomes something you look forward to. Top moment, the power of environment. where, when, and how to read for maximum impact. Have you ever tried to read in a noisy place and just couldn't focus? Or maybe you've attempted to read before bed, only to find yourself falling asleep after a page? Your environment plays a huge role in how well you read. Here's how to use your environment to your advantage. 1. Where to read. Choose a place where you're least likely to get interrupted. Quiet corners, coffee shops, or a cozy spot in your home work best. 2. Avoid the TV room or places where you'll be tempted to scroll through your phone. 3. When to read. Find a time when your mind is fresh. Some people prefer morning reading, while others love reading at night before bed. The key is consistency. Choose a time that works for you and stick to it. For how to read. Make sure you're comfortable. Avoid slouching or cramping yourself up. If you're reading on a device, adjust the screen brightness to avoid eye strain. You want your reading experience to be as easy and enjoyable as possible. But the most important piece of the puzzle? Don't just read anywhere or anytime. Choose environments that help you focus, feel good, and make reading an experience worth sticking with. Recap. Reading isn't a one-time thing. To really improve your English and grow as a person, you need to turn reading into a habit. With the 10-minute rule, a relaxing reading ritual, and the power of a supportive environment, you'll build a habit that not only sticks, but thrives, even when life is busy. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need hours. You just need to keep reading every day, even if it's only for 10 minutes. Consistency is the key to success. Chapter 6. What happens when you read every day? The transformation. This is where it all comes together. In this final chapter, we're going to talk about the real transformation, the long-term benefits of reading daily. I'm not just talking about language learning, though that's a huge part of it. I'm talking about life. Imagine, just for a moment, where you could be in 6 months, a year, or even 5 years from now, if you commit to reading every day. The person you could become confident, fluent, curious, and powerful with just a few minutes of reading each day. And the best part? It's not a fantasy. This is a reality that's within your reach. Top moment. The before and after comparison of a reader versus a non-reader. Let's start by looking at a comparison. What does daily reading do to a person's life? The non-reader. Imagine a person who's stuck. They struggle with English. They're often unsure of themselves, and they feel overwhelmed when they try to improve. They want to be fluent, but they don't know where to start. They're filled with doubt, unsure of their potential, and frustrated because they feel like progress is impossible. The daily reader. Now picture someone who reads every day, even just 10 minutes a day. Over time, their vocabulary expands, their grammar improves. They become more confident, not just in English, but in themselves. They start understanding the world around them in a deeper way. Their curiosity grows, and soon they're not just reading books, they're diving into new experiences. Their mindset shifts. Their goals evolve and opportunities start to open up. They're no longer stuck. They're thriving. This transformation is real. It's not magic. It's the result of consistent daily action. Top moment. The story of a learner who went from struggling with English to teaching others just by reading. Let me tell you the story of one learner, Maria. When she first started learning English, she felt lost. She could barely get through a page of a book without feeling overwhelmed. She avoided speaking because she was afraid of making mistakes. But Maria didn't give up. She committed to reading every day. At first, it was just a few minutes a day, small progress. She stuck with it, and slowly something incredible happened. Words that once seemed impossible began to make sense. Grammar that confused her started to click, and most importantly, her confidence grew. Maria didn't just learn English, she became fluent, and in just 2 years she was able to teach English to others. That's the power of daily reading. Her story isn't unique. It's the story of countless learners who have turned their lives around just by committing to a simple daily habit. Top moment. Emotional. Close with a question. What if the book that changes your life is the next one you read? I want to leave you with this question. What if the book that changes your life is the next one you read? It might sound dramatic, but it's true. Every book you read is an opportunity. It's a chance to learn something new, grow in ways you didn't think possible, and transform your life. And it's not about reading the perfect book. It's about reading consistently and letting the journey unfold. So, here's the question for you. Are you ready to start? The transformation you're looking for begins with one simple step, opening the next book. The new you are waiting on the other side. All you need to do is start today. This is where it all changes, not just for your English, but for your life. Let's go make it happen. Recap. By reading every day, you open the door to a future full of possibility. Whether you're improving your language skills, gaining confidence, or transforming your life, daily reading is the key to becoming the best version of yourself. So, what's stopping you? The next book you read could be the one that changes everything. If this video gave you something to think about, or better yet, something to take action on, then you already know what to do. Hit the like button so more learners like you can find this, and let's spread the message. Subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. Real talk, real tools, and real growth. And I want to hear from you. What book are you going to start with? Let's build a reading revolution, one page at a time. The journey starts now. Let's get reading.